I'm Kailey and I'm 24 years old. I'm someone who has lived experience with both mental health and substance use. During high school, I definitely struggled with my mental health. High school is a time where we learn about ourselves and become more aware of who we are as people. But during high school, we have a variety of issues thrown at us and we are put in situations that are new and unfamiliar. There's a lot of pressure to excel and be a well-rounded individual to ensure that you get into the best schools. You're expected to get good grades, participate in sports, and participate in extracurricular activities. It can be a lot. It's also a time in our lives where we start socializing in a different way. You're transitioning from middle school relationships towards adult relationships, which means practicing new skills. This is especially tough for you guys because you haven't had a chance to socialize much since the pandemic started. Navigating these unfamiliar situations is hard, and we will inevitably make mistakes because we are only human. I'm here to tell you about some of the things I struggled with while I was in high school and some of the mistakes I made along the way. In high school, I had very little confidence in myself. Most of my life, I had been put down and told I was not good enough, and I had internalized that. I felt like I had to put on a facade to fit in and for people to like me. I dressed to impress every day, and I would never be caught dead in sweatpants. I was also incredibly active on social media. I was constantly posting photos of myself, and I can honestly say I based my own worth on how many likes I got on my photos. It became a bit of an obsession. I felt like I needed validation from others that I was pretty and likable. I thought the likes would fix how I felt about myself, but the more attention I got, the more I would crave. It was a pretty vicious and never-ending cycle. Throughout high school, I was definitely influenced by peer pressure. I was always afraid of things like drinking alcohol and doing drugs because my parents had scared me away from them when I was younger. But when I was a junior in high school, I started going to parties. During one of these parties, I had my first drink. I didn't particularly like the taste, but I continued to drink anyways because it seemed like the appropriate thing to do at the time. As I continued to drink, I started to drink more. I wasn't nearly as bad as the people around me who were getting blackout drunk, puking, and even passing out, but I did start to drink more and get drunk. I thought I was so cool drinking and getting drunk, probably because I felt like I fit in with everyone else. Later, I drank because I was depressed. I would find someone who could get me alcohol and I would drink alone at night while everyone in my house was asleep. I hid the alcohol in my closet in an old toy box where I knew nobody would ever find it. Drinking while I was alone and depressed ended up just becoming something I did. My thought was always that it would make me feel better, but drinking always made my depression worse. In addition to drinking, I also struggled with anorexia while I was in high school. I was obsessed with being skinny because that was just what I saw all over social media. My eating disorder wasn't just about what I looked like, though. It was also about control. Restricting what I ate made me feel like I had some kind of control over my life. My parents were really strict, and there were a lot of things I was not allowed to do. A lot of the things that I did in my life were because I felt like I had to. I didn't feel like I had any control over my life, so starving myself was something that gave me a sense of control. High school is typically where people start to have some of their first real and serious relationships. When I was a senior, I had my first real relationship. I still didn't have complete confidence in myself, so I did a lot of things that I really was not comfortable with because I was afraid he wouldn't like me anymore if I didn't. The relationship was just toxic, but I was young and it was my first real one, so I really didn't know any better. I thought doing things you didn't want to do was just what people did, but now that I'm older, I realize it's not normal. This relationship caused me a lot of anxiety, which made the eating disorder I was struggling with so much worse. I felt like I was not even in control of my own relationship. I lost a lot of weight due to restricting myself, and then I officially became underweight. I became obsessed with the scale, partially because I was concerned about my decreasing weight, but also because I secretly loved that I was losing weight and becoming thinner. I thought being skinnier was making me more attractive. While all of these issues were happening, I never really understood what was going on. Mental health just was not something people talked about like we do now. At the time, I did not realize that I was struggling with anxiety or depression. All I knew was that mentally and emotionally, I was not doing well. Now that I'm older, I realize just how serious some of the things I went through were. I wish I had reached out for help while I was still in high school. I was talking to my friends about my issues, but most teens won't know when to get their friends' help. Use your counselors. They are there to help you. Your high school has a teen talk counselor who is there specifically to help anyone who is struggling. That is a great place to start. they will be able to get you the help that you need. In college, I finally got help and started therapy. When I first started addressing my mental health, I had one parent who was supportive and one parent who believed and still believes that mental illness is not real and that I was just doing it for attention. Parents, if your child comes to you and tells you that they're struggling, please do not invalidate them by saying you think it isn't real or serious. That is one of the worst things that you can do. Mental illness is a very real thing. I know because I have suffered from it. I've had thoughts of suicide. I've had friends almost successfully take their lives. I've seen loved ones struggle with addiction. These are real things that happen to real people. It could be your child or your loved one. Instead of getting mad at them, try to be more supportive and understanding. Listen to them and make sure that they get the help that they need. If you're struggling with your mental health right now, just know that it does get better. It's not easy and recovery is not always linear, but there are so many people out there who want to help you. There are a variety of resources, groups, and communities out there that will provide you with help and support. You do not have to go through this alone. You will not feel this way forever. There really is a light at the end of the tunnel. While I might still struggle sometimes, I now have a great support system and coping skills that help keep me grounded. I have hiking and photography that help ground me. I'm in a much better place mentally, and I'm able to use my personal experiences to help others with my work at Turning Point CT. I love being in this position where I can help others like me who are struggling. Sure, sometimes it's emotionally exhausting, but if sharing my story helps even just one person, it's worth it. Thanks.